Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. It is January 30th, early in the morning, 2020. How are you? I'm doing all right. We are going to look at the silver price today in the most clear way possible, which is by studying the price action, which is ultimately the only thing that really matters. So let's get into it. Before we do that, we can talk about a lot of the fundamentals. There was a Federal Reserve meeting today. Here's Fed Chairman Jerome Powell. And they talked about prices a lot. They talked about prices of inflation. How much inflation is there? Should we have more inflation? One of the major points that Mr. Powell made today was that the Fed would implement a new policy of setting a minimum threshold for its balance sheet at above $1.5 trillion in reserves. They also talked about a symmetrical inflation target that might have some variability into the future. They're going to be purchasing $60 billion of bonds going forward, still at least through April. T-bills, to be more specific. These are a lot of the fundamentals. I took extensive notes on that, and I'm going to crumple that up and throw it away. Why am I throwing that away? Because everything that the Fed says really needs to be boiled down to two major points. If you think about these two things every time this person speaks, here's what you will arrive at. The two rules of Fed speak. Number one, how much money are they printing? And number two, who are they giving that money to? If every time the Fed has a press conference, you keep these two questions in mind, trust me, everything will make a whole lot more sense, at least about what the central bank is doing. Because the truth is, they only have one tool, which is to print money. The only question is, who are they giving it to? So, that said, let's switch over and look at the charts. Does gold sense that the Fed is going to be printing any more money? Well, yes, it did, because here we see the 2 o'clock hour, which is when Fed Chairman Jerome Powell began to speak. Gold was up a little less than $10 following the talk. That was good to see, especially given where gold is right now, which is a very interesting point. Silver, of course, had the big washout day yesterday. I think that was overdone. We'll see how this looks. And it was actually up today. It doesn't look like a whole lot, but it was up about 10 cents after the meeting. Perspective will be everything. So let's look at silver back to that most clear way possible. We're looking from 2015 through the present. All the colors here are going to have a meaning. For example, the most important trend line that we're looking at is here. We can see connecting that 2015 bottom, right? It was bounced here just again late last year. Why is this trend line so important? We have to zoom this out for a moment. Let's zoom it all the way out. That's the trend line we're talking about all the way back from the beginning of 2003. Notice it served as support in the crash of 2008. And that was the data point we were looking at right there in 2015. So let's zoom it back in. We had a breakdown below that, which was very rare to see a trend line regained, but it has been, and this is very good as long as silver can remain above that. This is a technical signature that I'm still looking at to show us that there's still rising support for silver, all things considered. Now, over the very short run, where are we? Pay attention to this candle. We're looking at a weekly chart of spot silver. Pay attention to this red candle right here. This is a bearish reversal candle that we saw, especially when we look at the 1 day. As I said, this is the 1 week chart. Each candlestick represents 1 week of price action. That was an important resistance turnaround there, especially when we see where did that happen. So kind of take a look at what I'm talking about here, these two black lines between 1860 or so and 1830 or so, and follow my mouse all the way back to 2016. Notice, after silver broke through this level, this was following Trump's election, it was rejected. right? Silver could not get through this level again on the upside. One rejection, a second rejection, a third rejection, a fourth rejection, a fifth rejection, 6, 7, 8, 9, a lot of little ones in here. Almost 10 rejections between this 1830 and this 1860 spot level. Can we see that? Is that plain to see? So this forms something like a 3.5 year resistance zone between this level. It's very critical that we see silver break through this level over the coming months, especially holding above this rising support here. Now, there's something else that is visible here. So we look at the rejection. What has happened here over the short run? It looks like this level, once again, sellers have shown up. They are rejecting. They are selling silver. I don't care why. They're doing it. There's something else, though, that you should be paying attention to here as we are looking at the silver market. Notice this kind of swooping price action, right? This swoop here, one swoop, two swoops down and trying to get back above that. This pattern here that we're seeing, these swoops, is very reminiscent of this pattern, which is an inverse head and shoulders pattern. What am I talking about here? These two left shoulders and a head. It's an inverse silhouette of a human being, a profile of a human being. And so looking at that on the silver chart, there is a double left shoulder. We can see that here. A larger head. It's actually a double head. Try to get the message of what I'm talking about. Don't go so focused on the little squiggly lines, the ups and downs. Get the focus here of the big picture. Left shoulders, a head, and what? A right shoulder, followed by another rejection. And so it looks here like what's trying to happen is silver is trying to form a symmetrical two shoulders, a head, and two right shoulders. It's trying to form this pattern. The message here, the takeaway, is how important this resistance zone is. We're talking about over the intermediate term, this 1830 to 1860. As soon as we see a weekly close above 1860, silver is going to move significantly higher and quickly. That is the message of this kind of target here. We will look at specific calculated projections, but I will tell you this right now, the target is going to be above the 2016 high. This is very clear. We can take an amplitude measurement of the head here. It's going to be greater than $4, and we can add that on to the breakout point here. It hasn't happened yet. It hasn't happened. We have to take everything into context, though. So think about where we are with gold. Gold is way above the 2016 high. Silver has been lagging. This is a negative warning signal beyond this move. So I'm still not convinced that this entire thing is going to represent the beginning of a bull market. I'm looking at this from the 1-year time frame. I think we still have higher prices to come. I think silver is going to follow gold. I think we're carving out the right shoulder here, the second right shoulder of what is going to be a 3.5-year inverse head and shoulder pattern. This will break at some point coming up soon here. It's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be this week. But some point in the next couple of months, silver will follow gold, and the target is going to be above $21 spot. A lot of these silver miners that are lagging will finally catch a bid in this move. It's going to be a really nice move later this year. Will it be the start of a new bull market? That is what we endeavor to answer here in this channel. Make sure to hit the subscribe button so you get notified of all of these free videos. If you want to go further into precious metals intelligence, we just released a video that was like this, but an hour and a half in length. We covered not only silver, but gold, the US dollar, the US stock market in depth. This parabolic breakout that we're seeing in the stock market is so key to understanding what's happening in gold right now. We also cover the exact miners that we are buying and selling here. Flash updates go right to your inbox. If this is all too much, if you are new to the precious metals or you're thinking about a change to your strategy, I completely understand. Everyone starts in this market at some point. There's nothing too big, nothing too small. We all reach a certain point in our lives where it just helps to talk to someone who does not sell the metals. And I provide that service if that's something that could be useful for you. We have clients from all over the world, not just the United States, Canada, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Asia, Singapore, Hong Kong. If you'd like to speak to me, know that you can reach me on the Consultations tab. For that, I just charge for my time so that I can maintain independence and not have to push you, not have to try to sell you anything in one direction or another. So silver has this inverse head and shoulders pattern setting up. You can see that very clearly. There was a rejection candle this week. That tells me that it's not getting ready to break that pattern this week or next week. It's going to require some more consolidation. We'll be looking at the short-term trajectory here in Precious Metals Intelligence coming up this Monday. It's going to require more consolidation. We'll dial that in as we get closer. But the intermediate term pattern still looks very healthy to me. There's been no rejection. There's been no negation of the intermediate term expectation for higher prices. So let's get ready for later this year.